this is my first video in this style, anyway. I never really intended on doing a video like this, but I just kind of got a little bored, and, I wanted to do something a little different, and I know it's not super good, probably, but hey, it's my first one. Bear with me. Well, actually, a lot of the stuff had to be redone, like the voiceover. This is my third time doing the voiceover, and I had to redraw stuff, and I accidentally deleted a video, but who cares? Let's get into the topic of this video.
Here's a classic way to play Super Mario Brothers. The original Super Mario Brothers, which made its debut on NES in 1985, can now be played on this special Game & Watch system.
So, to start things off, they showed off the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch. And this is cool. I like this one. I always love it when game companies produce items that bring us back to the past. Now, this is no complete reproduction of an original Game & Watch or whatever, but still. It's going to be cool to finally get a little taste of the Game & Watch for myself. And I also think it's cool how it has both Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, because boy do I love suffering. The Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch is apparently going to cost about 50 smackaroonies, which, for what it is, that's actually a pretty reasonable price. I'm going to pick it up because why wouldn't I? Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. It's finally 3D World on the Switch. I've wanted this since the Switch came out, and I'm really glad it's here. And I'm also glad it has extra content, although that would kind of be expected from something like this. Now, I do not have a Wii U yet, so this will be my first rodeo with this game. But I kind of see that as a plus, because that means that I'll be able to enjoy all this extra content like it's my first time. Because it is. Actually, I have experienced this game, but only through those weird, Wii U kiosk type things at GameStop and whatever. But from what I've experienced and seen, it's really good, and I'm super excited to get my hands on it.
Clash in this competitive Super Mario Brothers game. Welcome to Super Mario Brothers. With 35 players?
Oh, come on. Super Mario Bros. 35 is a Tetris 99-esque Super Mario Bros. Game. That's about it. Now, don't get me wrong, I think this is a great idea, and I'm excited to try it out. But even with less players than Tetris 99, I think this game will have a lot more stuff going on, especially with the sending enemies mechanic. This tells me that there may be issues with lag, which kinda doesn't make me want to download the game. But who am I kidding? I'm a Mario fan, and it's free. Of course I'm gonna download it.
What could this one be?
Well, I don't know. Why don't you just show me? Huh. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Everything a 7-year-old HappyFox would have wanted. This game looks neat, I guess. And to be honest, the idea is really great, but I just don't understand why. I mean, it's a spin-off Mario Kart game, so it makes sense. It just seems a bit strange to me, I suppose. But hey, let's look at the bright side of things. It looks like you can presumably customize tracks, which when you think about it, that's an amazing concept. You can get a cute little Mario Kart guy too, who's all remote control and made of plastic and whatever. But 100 smackaroonies this thing costs, and I just don't know if it's worth the price for what it is. I mean, I'm still gonna get it, no doubt, but overall, this one is just a little bit underwhelming.
How was everything so far? The next one will be our last announcement.
It's me, Mario!
My God, they did it. The rumors are true. I honestly didn't believe them. But boy, am I glad to be wrong. Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, all on one little Cheez-It. I'm fine with Galaxy 2 not being here. I prefer the first one anyway, but that's just me. Now, first of all, I'm really excited to get into Sunshine for the first time. I don't own the original Sunshine, so I'm glad I'll be able to play it. But what I'm most excited for is Super Mario 64. I played so much Mario 64 DS as a child, so to be able to play what is essentially the original is going to be really cool. I'm excited for this collection. Also, people are pouting about it being a limited release or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like most of the people who actually want the game are probably going to get it by the end of March anyway, but who knows. Overall, the Mario Direct, well, it was great, of course it was. Most of these things are so exciting, and I can't wait to get my paws on these. Now, I just want to thank you all so much for watching. This video was an absolute blast to make, and I'm so glad that some of y'all decided to drop by and give it a watch. Now, if you want to see more videos similar to this, please, oh please, tell me in the comments below. And, well, thanks. See ya. Hello everybody, and welcome to another one of these videos. Today I'm going to talk about Nintendo's E3 presentation, which is happening, well, tomorrow. More so, I'm going to be talking about my predictions for the game, really what I think is likely, unlikely, and just kind of what's in the middle of the road. Unfortunately, this video is kind of long to make, and I'm in a bit of a time crunch, so instead of talking around like this, I'm just going to go ahead and get into the meat of the video. The part where I talk about the... Alright, I've got 4 things for this category. I'm not going to try to find footage for it, that's going to take too long, and I can easily address these 4 things really quickly, so I'm just going to get into it. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Challenger Pack 10. This is an E3 presentation. Do you really think we're not going to get that? Breath of the Wild 2. Back in the February Direct, we were told that we were going to get more information later this year. It's later. Information on Mario Golf Super Rush. The game releases later this month. They're probably going to talk about it. Anime games. It's a Nintendo Direct. You can't have a Nintendo Direct without anime games. Anyway, let's move on to... Alright, I've got 5 things for this category, so let's get into it. Firstly, I think we're due for a new Animal Crossing New Horizons update. We haven't had a really major one since March. Of course, we got all the Super Mario themed items and a couple of other things. But Considering we haven't gotten an update since March, this is a pretty reasonable expectation to have for E3. I also think Kirby's a pretty reasonable expectation. Other than Star Allies back in 2017, we haven't gotten much except for a couple spin-offs, and also, Kirby has been being teased, so I think that it might happen at E3. Splatoon 3 was revealed in the February Direct. Although I think it is kinda weird to have two Splatoon games on the same console, I think we'll probably learn more about it during this presentation, and honestly, I'm excited to see more. A while back in a Pokemon Presents, we got our first looks at Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I think it's pretty likely that we'll get information on one of the two in E3, most likely the Diamond and Pearl remakes. I don't know much about them, but I'm still looking forward to them because I do play some Pokemon. I'm gonna buy it because I'm stupid. Next one. I don't know anything about Bayonetta, and yet I think this is probably gonna happen. Metroid. Mario Party 12/Super Mario Party 2. I heard that ND Cube was hiring for a new project, presumably Mario Party 12. I don't know what it is, but I think if it doesn't happen now, it'll happen soon. Something new for Nintendo Switch Online. People are speculating that it'll be N64 Online. Personally, I think it'll probably be Game Boy or Game Boy Advance. Sonic. WarioWare. Nintendo recently held a survey asking if we would buy a new WarioWare game for a certain price. I don't think this means that they haven't made a WarioWare game. I think they're just trying to figure out pricing, honestly. But I think it's pretty likely. Ace Attorney. We actually know that there's one coming. The Ace Attorney Chronicles, I believe, coming in July. But I think they'll probably touch on it during E3. Donkey Kong. This year's his 40th anniversary. Yeah, we're getting Donkey Kong. If not now, then very soon. Hello. Before we get into the last section, I just want to say, I'm sorry I couldn't find good footage in time, so it's just going to be a bunch of logos on the screen again. I hope that's fine, but I'm trying to get this out fast. I'm already going to be late. I'm not going to be able to upload it at 9:30. I actually had an issue earlier where all my video progress got deleted and I had to remake all of this again. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. I'm under a time crunch. I hope you understand. Anyway, on to the logos. A new Super Mario Bros. Rhythm Heaven on the Switch. I do think it'll happen at some point, but for now, I think Mario Kart 9 is not impossible, but unlikely to happen right now. If it does happen right now, that would be great, but honestly, I think if they do have it, it's going to be later this year at least. Maybe September or something, I don't know. Pikmin 4, this is so unlikely, I couldn't even take the time to find a logo for it. And you know what? I'm wasting my time. I could put all of these here and say it with me now. Because these games have barely been touched in a while, with an exception for Pikmin, which just got Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and Fire Emblem, which got 3 houses. But all these games are not going to show up at E3 because Nintendo doesn't care enough. They don't think we care enough. Does anybody like bingo?
You want to know what the most lonely hobby among all hobbies is? That's right, it's playing video games. But I happen to be in the boat of people who have played one of the most important video games of all time, Shrek 2 on the Game Boy Advance. Yeah! No, I mean Super Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64. I grew up with the GS port of the game, so call me irrelevant if you want, but I played the original, and I still hold the game close to my heart. Nothing comes without its flaws, so in this here video, I'm going to take a look at what this game has to offer. For time management reasons, in essence, so this video doesn't take me any longer to make than it needs to, I'll only be looking at the 15 main stages of the game. Perhaps in another video, I'll cover the special stages and the DS exclusives, but for now... Jesus Christ, alright. Well, of course we're gonna begin with the Bomb Battlefield, which is the first stage that you will come across in your journey. It's a very well-rounded stage, especially for a 3D Mario game, and it's very well put together, and I think it's the perfect place to start. The best part, though, in my opinion, is that the stage doesn't really feel out of place compared to the others. Here's the thing, in many 3D Mario games, and really just a lot of 3D games in general, you'll be plopped down right in the middle of, Jesus Christ, this place is basic. Usually you're sort of baby through the first stage of areas in the game, but the Super Mario 64 doesn't really do that. When you fall into the Bomb Battlefield, all the game does is say, go talk to that guy, he'll help you out. And other than a few small pointers throughout the game, that's kinda it. I got a bit off track there, but my point is, the Bomb Battlefield wasn't oversimplified due to being the first stage. It just feels like a normal stage. Overall, I think I'll put this stage in A tier. Alright, so before I get into this one, well, Womp's Fortress is my favorite stage, so I will try to be as unbiased as I can. So Womp's Fortress is on the smaller end of stages, but it doesn't really feel as such because your goal involves climbing up the stage to ultimately reach a large platform at the top, either containing a tower or King Womp, depending on the star that you're playing. The layout of the stage, in my opinion, is very well put together. However, there are some strange stars. Shooting the Wild Blue is a rather risky star, especially for being so early in the game, and there's not really a way for a player to know about Hoot the Owl unless they just decide to climb up this tree. Other than that, though, this level is pretty fun to run around in, and it still makes for a pretty good stage early. Overall, good design with a few instances of counterintuitivity, but the stage still lands in A tier. In my opinion, those small instances are really minor, and they aren't really enough to keep the stage from being a great romp. Cool Mountain is another favorite of mine, but I am more than willing to point out a few small issues. First, what I like about this stage. First off, you get to climb down a mountain. How often does that happen in a video game? The slide is pretty interesting, and you have to bring a baby penguin back to her mama, which is kind of adorable. It's a nice big stage too, which means it's definitely one of the better courses if you're just looking to run around and do whatever. There are some flaws. The worst flaw for me is the red coin star. My issue with this red coin star is the size of the stage. I know I just praised Cool Mountain for its large roomy size, but the red coins are spread out through the entire stage. It's not like Tick-Tock Clock or Tall Mountain, where even though these stages are large, red coins are all near each other. No, in Cool Mountain, you're pretty much on a scavenger hunt for all the red coins. It's excessively complicated, and it's pretty annoying if you have all the red coins, but like maybe you fall off the stage or something. The stage. Anyways, there are a few other small things. The wall kicks will work star area is a bit difficult to get to. This stupid freaking platform is freaking stupid. All that being said, I think the stage has a decent design, but it's not without a few flaws. This leaves it in B tier, which is still completely respectable. So Jolly Roger Bay is the first water level that you'll play, assuming that you're playing all the stages in order. I do like the sunken ship star. I think that sunken ships are always a cool idea in video games. The area that the underwater tunnel leads to is kinda neat. It's a fun place to run around. I do have a slight issue with the stage. For one thing, if you're playing through the Jetstream star without any special tricks, you can't really get the star without the middle cap. I know this is supposed to give an incentive to go back to that star, but like, I don't know, man. You don't get the metal cap until Hazy Maze Cave, and I feel like at that point, most people, except for completionists, aren't going to want to backtrack from the basement stages to progress. It's not that big of a deal, I guess, but I'm still mad. Also, the treasure chest star is stupid. The design of the stage is fine, I guess. It's just kind of too big of a stage with too little going on. Overall, Jolly Roger Bay is going to be placed in the C tier. I don't know, man. I find this stage a little boring. Not bad by any means, but I just never look forward to playing this stage. Well, here's the thing. Big Boo's Haunt doesn't necessarily excel at anything other than aesthetic, but there aren't many things I can say that are wrong with it. Sometimes you can fall into a hole and you'll land down here. It's kind of annoying, but it's supposed to be. The stage is decent design overall, but really how hard is it to make a haunted house? I'm sure there's a lot that I'm skimming over, but I'm just gonna give this stage a C, right down the middle. I just don't know. Ever wanted to hear me whine? Lethal Lava Land is something of a hot mess, in every meaning that either of those two words can mean. I know a lot of people love this stage. I am not a lot of people. Listen, I don't dislike the stage, but there are a good few things wrong with it I'm just dying to point out. First of all, look at this red stuff. It's everywhere. I know this is called Lethal Lava Land for a reason, but come on. I feel like they could have been so creative with this layout. So, no, it's just one layer of lava with some disgusting looking platforms to jump around on. Also, the bullies aren't really that hard to defeat, but compared to some other enemies, they are. Also, the rolling log star. It's very simple and pretty pointless, and it takes up so much space that could be used for more interesting things. It doesn't even make sense in the context of the stage! I think this is another case of a stage being too big with not enough going on. They try to make it seem like there's stuff to do, but at the end of the day, I just feel like the challenges are too linear compared to other stages. Of course, there's the volcano, and that does not save this stage. The volcano's cool, but again, the challenges within are just way too linear, and you can't really just run around and explore. All that said, I think this level is good in concept. With a little polish, it could be great. But it's not. I am placing Lethal Lava Land in D tier. I know that's kinda harsh, but Lethal Lava Land is kinda harsh. I'm gonna start by saying that Hazy Maze Cave used to be my favorite stage, which I am aware means that I'm about to lose all credibility. But over time, my love for the stage has been mellowed a little, and I realize that there are a few things that hold this stage from being the best it can be. What am I talking about? Okay, so first off, this stage is one of the best layouts in the game. I know that may sound like crazy talk, but hear me out. This stage is gigantic. There's plenty of stuff to do. There are a lot of smaller, more linear paths throughout the stage, but not a lot of roaming space, but there's also plenty of larger areas where you can just run and jump around. It's a perfect combination of large open areas and small linear ones. And even then, when there is linearity, it's almost always for a good reason. The maze in Hazy Maze was a little small and tight. There's not a lot of places to jump around, but your goal is to get through the maze as fast as possible. Linearity adds to the objective. And also it's a maze, so what would you want to explore? I do have a couple issues. The elevate for 8 red coin star is kind of annoying and slow, and these big rocks are a little annoying to bypass, but never exactly frustrating. Hazy Maze Cave is being placed in the A tier. I can't find too many things that are wrong with it. After really getting down to it, I have mad respect for this stage. It's not perfect, but after really considering it, it is very well put together. I don't like this one. Shifting Sandland is a desert-themed stage. There's a pyramid, great potential, but no, we got a bird. Oh, where do I begin? The quicksand is stupid, and Klepto here makes me want to cry. The Tox Box maze is dumb and a waste of time. I always use a wing cap to bypass this area, and I don't know anyone else who doesn't. The quicksand is stupid, and there's just not a lot of space to run around. There are a few open areas, but there's not enough for my personal taste. Because everywhere else is crowded by quicksand, which, I kinda get it, but just like the lava in Lethal Lava Land, the quicksand could have been used in more interesting ways. The quicksand is dumb, and pretty much all of the stars outside the pyramid are either stupid annoying or stupid dumb. There's a pyramid though, so let's talk about that. The only good stars are in this pyramid, and even still, the one where you have to climb to the top is a fun idea, but I cannot count how many times I've fallen down and have had to climb all the way back up. iRock is literally the only good star in this stage. Yes, the only thing I like about Shifting Sandland. iRock. 2 hands, 2 eyes, what an adventure. Definitely my favorite boss in the game. Shifting Sandland gets D tier, I don't care. Review over. Dire Talks, the second water-themed stage. I've been less fond of this stage than I am of Jolly Roger Bay, but we'll see how I feel after I talk about it. In this stage, you're thrown right into the water. No time to breathe, just tossed right in. There's not a lot of surrounding land to run around on, and this stage is almost entirely water. Actually, isn't a bad thing here, though, because there's a lot more stuff to see here than in Jolly Roger Bay. There's this whirlpool, there's a jet stream again, which is okay, because at this point most people will unlock the metal cap. There's a neat big submarine, which you have to board to get a star. It can be a little finicky to get on if you aren't 100% used to the controls, but either way, pretty neat. There's this heckin' giant, stupid tunnel. My issue with the stage is how you get to it. So you finally get 30 stars, you're thinking, oh man, it's time to fight Bowser again. You open the star door and you see ripples. You try to go to the Bowser level entrance, but you're thrown into an entirely different stage. I just feel like this stage is a bit of an annoyance when playing through this game. Overall though, Dire Talks gets a B tier ranking. It's a little more interesting than Jolly Roger Bay, but it's nothing absolutely groundbreaking. So first of all, yes, this is indeed a mountain, and it sure is tall times 2. Basically imagine a bomb battlefield, but This stage is alright. There are a few more linear areas than I would prefer, but that doesn't really hold it back since, well, you're climbing a mountain, big open areas wouldn't really make much sense here. There isn't much to say, but it has pretty good level design. I can't really think of too many bad things about it. The rolling log doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and getting to this area is kind of annoying. Also, I kinda hate accidentally falling off the mountain and being tossed all the way to the bottom, but it's okay, I guess. Oh, but guess what? There's a slide! And guess what else? It's infinitely worse than any of the other slides! There is definitely a point to be made about the harder challenge of this slide compared to others. But come on, there's a slide skip for a reason, moving on. Overall, I give Tall Mountain a B tier. Not overtly spectacular, but not excessively terrible either. It's still a fun time. It's fine, Igloo's neat, fun romp, place is a bit generic overall. Main boss, C tier. I like this one. This stage is never not cool for me. I usually pick the tiny island because I can easily jump to where I want to go, and then just use any nearby pipe to go to the huge island since that's where pretty much all the stars are. This level is good, but there are a few things wrong with it. Sometimes it is a little easy to slip off the tiny island, and I hate 70% of the Earth's surface. The design is relatively linear, and even in the huge island, there's just not really too many places to just play around in. It honestly feels like it could have been made in a 3D level editor or something. Grassy, beachy, windy, mountainous theme is a bit basic, but come on. I'm gonna leave Tiny Huge Island in B tier. It is one of my personal favorites, and it will never not be, but it does hold a couple of design flaws. Alright, look, Wet Dry World is easily one of the most hated on levels in this game, and I am not innocent of the accusations that Wet Dry World is anti-good, but let me take a closer look at this stage. So, one of the first things you may notice when entering this stage is the fact that the water level can change. I love the concept, but why this level? Why would they use it in a level like this? This stage requires a hefty dose of precise platforming, which of course platforming is what the Mario series is best known for. This is precise platforming, with tall jumps and isolated targets to jump to, which does not work nearly as well in 3D as it does in 2D, especially in the early ages of 3D. There's a point to be made about challenge, but there's a difference between challenge and straight up dysfunctionality. Most of the stars in this area are a little teensy little thing that I like to call absolutely asinine. But there's a whole entire area, which is this little town, and oh my goodness, why couldn't the rest of the stage be designed like this little area? The idea of changing the levels of flooding water in a town is so neat. Why did they confine it to this one area? So, yeah, the town is definitely the best area in the stage, and it is very fun. It just sucks that you have to swim through the Nile River just to get to it. Yeah, my Tri-World is going in D tier. It's a good thing I reevaluated this stage while making this video, otherwise it would have gotten an F. I really love this level. It is such an incredibly adorable idea for a stage, and I absolutely love it. But even God has his moments. There is not a whole lot wrong with this level, but what there is wrong with it is really wrong with it. There is only one thing that I have to complain about here. The Y-axis. See, this level's theme is supposed to represent the idea that you're climbing a big huge clock, so of course the vertical form makes sense. But I have the same issue here that I had with the pyramid in Shifting Sandland. In some places, it can be so easy to slip and fall off and either fall out of the stage entirely, or at the very least, fall all the way back down to the bottom. Now besides that though, I still think the stage is wonderful, and it is still getting beats here. Up to this point, I've been dogging on the linearity of some stages, but as a tall mountain, you're climbing a vertical structure, so it doesn't really matter here. Anyways, yeah, beat tier. Oh my dear sweet Vixen, this is the last stage I have to talk about. I am so close to being finished and being able to upload this. The final stage just had to be this, and of course it's the one I'm going to ramble about the most. So first of all, you're faced with a magic carpet. This is how you get around this. So first of all, you're faced with a magic carpet. This is how you get to all the different areas in the level, and oh my Vixen, I hate it. It is so slow, but these areas are designed to where if it went any faster, that it would be unnecessarily difficult. Second of all, there is too much stuff in this level. There is no apparent designer theme to the stage other than sky, and all of these different things are just random challenges just floating there. It is so frustratingly confusing or so annoyingly time-consuming to get to certain areas in the stage. Also, speaking of all the random floating challenges, it is so incredibly easy to fall out of the stage. There is no solid layer of ground anywhere. It is just all different platforms varying in size, functionality, and locations just placed wherever the heck the developers spat them onto. I so love the idea of a challenge fest in this game, but Rainbow Ride just does it so wrong. The idea is fine, but that's the best thing I have to say about the stage. It's just fine! All of these random areas in this stage have no context as to where they are in relation to anything else, or how they got here or anything. Argue, oh, how did any of the other stages get here? But like, Bob Battlefield is an open field with a mountain. Jolly Roger Bay is a deep-sea bay with a pirate ship. Shifting Sandland is a desert. These all make sense. Even Tick-Tock Clock. Sure, the concept on its own doesn't make sense, but at least you go into the stage knowing, holy Vixen, I just jumped to the clock. You can imagine these as real places in the Mario world. Rainbow Ride is just a bunch of floating platforms in the sky. This stage is going to the F tier. There is not a stage in this game of which I have more problems with than Rainbow Ride. I do not enjoy this stage. ranking for all of the main Super Mario 64 stages. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I want to see y'all's opinions down in the comments down below. I really like talking to you guys down there. At some point, soonish enough, I'll have another video ranking all of the secret stages and the Koopa stages and the DS exclusive special stages. But for now, that's really all I have to say. I love you. Bye. Over my years of experience as a human being, I've learned that living is hard. People are expected to get by in life knowing how to take care of themselves physically, and do taxes, and to make food, and to breathe. And while I can't help with that fourth one, Touch Generations has the answer for the other three. Touch Generations was a Nintendo-owned brand which would develop games which were intended for a more casual audience. They were the creators of games like Clubhouse Games, Brick Band Academy, and even Nintendogs. And of course they created the topic of this video, the Personal Trainer series.
Hey Kiara, want to cook something on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. How about Kung Pao chicken?
Yeah.
Cut the green onions into 3/4 inch lengths.
See, I'm not cutting my fingers at all.
It's time to mix the seasoning.
Can you stir that?
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay, saute the chicken.
We're done after this. Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Me too.
It's ready to eat.
We did it.
I know. Chinese food, and it was easy.
Personal Trainer Cooking, only for Nintendo DS. Rated E for everyone.
Yeah.
These are self-help games. They're basically meant for the people who don't typically play games. There are 3 personal trainer games: walking, math, and cooking. I will talk about them in that order. Personal trainer walking is exactly what it sounds like, which is why I'm starting out with it, because there's not much to talk about. Here's my copy. The cardboard box is a little beat up, but when I initially bought it, the game itself was completely sealed in the plastic and the pedometers weren't activated. And hey, it was $10. Speaking of the pedometers, we get 2 of them here. Okay, so this one looks edible, and this one looks illegal. Okay, so here's the deal. This game is basically just a glorified way to make you get on your feet. I gotta say, it does a really good job at teaching you how to walk. Oh shit, it worked. So, yeah, you open the game, set up your profile. It's one of like 5 games on the DS that used Mii's, so that's cool. You set yourself a walking goal, and then you carry the pedometers, or as it's formally known, the activity meter trademark accessory. At the end of every day, you're meant to scan the activity meter trademark accessory to the game using the IR sensor in the game cartridge. Then you check it at the end of every day to see if you met your goal, and then for some reason you rank yourself. I don't exactly understand this part, but it's... I guess it's, I don't understand this part. Anyways, here's my personal ranking.
Exercise, more like dumb.
Okay, listen up. It's summer break, and I told myself I wouldn't do a single math problem, but Personal Trainer Math dictates that I discuss math. So, Personal Trainer Math is a game that's meant to strengthen your brain's ability to do, well, math. My copy came brand new off of Amazon for like $5. Now it's $20. That really made me think there for a few hours. Dang inflation nowadays, I tell ya.
Why?
Anyways, when you first start the thing, you meet Hideo Kajiyama. Hideo Kajiyama is, or at least was, as of an official 2008 interview from the Nintendo of Europe website, a professor at Ritsumeikan University in Kyoto, Japan. I did so much research for this video, please be proud. He is essentially the mascot of Personal Trainer Math, and he's the namesake for the so-called Kajiyama method, but we'll talk about that in a few moments. You start the game, you set up a profile, basically just entering your name and picking your dominant hand. You greet the man himself, Hideo Kajiyama. He looks like a bean. And he tells you what the heck the deal is around these parts. He tells you basically what all there is to see in the game, but no, that's my job today. Okay, so in this game you have 3 different modes, I guess, for a lack of a better term. The first one is the daily test. Every day you're meant to do math. Jesus Christ. And they toss a few challenges at you, and that is about that. It's like a warm-up. Next is a mode based on the aforementioned Kajiyama method. See, Kajiyama believes that the basic repetition of the Kajiyama method is similar to the training of athletes, in that it's meant to give some basis for one's understanding of the field, and then spark its full potential. In Personal Trainer Math, the Kajiyama method is displayed by a 100-cell exercise. I have at least 100 cells, so this is perfect for me. Think of it like a multiplication table you've seen in elementary school. However, the numbers aren't so linear. You can randomize the numbers to give yourself an actually pretty fun challenge, or stick to a single predetermined exercise and go for your lowest time. The 100-cell exercises are easily the best part of this so-called game, and quite frankly, this alone is worth the $5 I spent. Now, the 100-cell comes in addition, subtraction, and multiplication. There is a separate mode for division, but it's just not the same. I could only do 10. Alright, lastly we have the practice exercises. It's the same sort of stuff that you'll see in the daily test, but you can kind of just play whatever, whenever. I played the very last one, which I assume is the hardest, and I got it first try. This 100 I got in geometry was not for nothing. And that's Personal Trainer Math. There's not too much to do, but it is surprisingly enjoyable to do a couple problems or 100-cell exercises. I won't say I've ever played for more than maybe 20 minutes at once, but it is a pretty fun distraction overall, and it is genuinely fun to go for your fastest time in the Kajiyama method. That's right, I like Personal Trainer Math, Mom! Alright, so Personal Trainer Cooking is the least gamey of all these games because, well, it's not a game, it's a virtual cookbook. This is a neat one, but an odd one. Walking and math both make sense, like they're things you'd want to train on. Walking is meant to get you in a cycle of walking, and math is meant to strengthen your ability to do math. Cooking, well, why not just get a cookbook? Surprisingly, of all the 3 Personal Trainer games, as far as I can tell, this one has the highest average score on rating websites like Metacritic and IGN. Anyways, 241 recipes are available from the start, but you can unlock a couple more by completing some recipes. The cookbook is manned by the DS chef himself. He reads the instructions to you when you cook. I gotta say, it's pretty useful. It's really hard to talk about it without actually cooking something, so I'll do exactly that. I'll just search by country. I'm feeling turkey today. Tomato soup? Tomato soup is Turkish? Let's see, I have all the ingredients, so I guess I'm making tomato soup.
Personal Trainer Cooking. Good morning. Let's get cooking. Nice work.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Hinging with Harlow. For this week we're taking a look at the tomato soup recipe from Personal Trainer Cooking on the Nintendo DS. So I'm just gonna take my stylus out, very cowardly, and get started. Alright, we're gonna do exactly that. Here's my knife, and here's my cutting board, along with me getting very confused at my DS for whatever reason. But we figured it out, so. I have one medium beefsteak tomato here, which I'm going to cut up, but not before I remove this little green thingy at the top. Now I will warn you, I'm not very good in the kitchen, so this may be disturbing to other people who are more experienced.
So for whatever reason, I start to slice the tomato like I'm about to make some sort of tomato sandwich. And this is where I start to have issues with my cutting board because my setup is not the most ideal, but it's the best I can do. So I start cutting up the tomatoes some more, and now I'm realizing there's got to be a better way to do this. So here's a new cutting board. The tomatoes are chopped. Woo, magic. These aren't chopped how you want them to be, but let's move to the next step.
First, finely chop the tomatoes.
Yeah, I didn't click past the screen that was telling me what I needed for the first step, so, yeah.
The next step is to cook the tomatoes. You'll need a saucepan.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can tell here, but tomato juice is dripping off onto the oven, which, a big mistake. I am going to regret this very severely later on.
Melt the butter in the saucepan over low heat without allowing it to burn.
Alright, so this one was a bit tricky for me because it is incredibly easy to burn butter, but I do think that it will add a lot of flavor to the tomato soup, and down the line we're going to be adding flour, which adds to the texture. But anyway, here's my pot. The recipe calls for 2.5 teaspoons of butter. I don't have any melted butter on hand, so I just use this spoon to scrape off the stick. As you can see, I'm fumbling like an idiot with the stove because beforehand I cleaned it and water is not its friend. I was worried that I broke the stove, and I checked all of them, and luckily I did find one that lit, so unfortunately it means you can't see the pot, but that's just where I'm gonna have to put it, so it is what it is. Anyways, the best way to keep butter from burning is to just keep it moving so it doesn't stay in one place too long. Here's me trying to get some shots of the butter, also not knowing how depth perception works. I hope you enjoy it. So we're going to keep the butter on low heat, and we're going to go fetch our next ingredient, which I believe I already mentioned, but it's flour. And we're just going to add 1 tablespoon to the butter, and this is going to make what's called a roux, which is going to thicken our soup later on. You want to just keep mixing it. It may clump up at first, but if you keep mixing, it will become smooth and it'll look something like this. It's very delicious, I promise you.
Pour in the chicken stock gradually, stirring continuously.
Yeah, it's odd. I never knew that tomato soup was made with chicken stock. It doesn't really make much sense to me. I would think they would just use tomato juice or water. But anyways, I get my half cup of chicken stock in the worst way that I possibly could, and I bring it back over the pot and just keep stirring.
Add the chopped tomatoes and simmer for about 10 minutes over low heat until the mixture thickens.
Now, I'm already a bit confused after the embarrassingly small amount of chicken stock. But anyway, here are my tomatoes, and I make the last minute decision to just chop it up some more because it was not finely chopped enough at all. So I'm adding those in, and then I'm going to stir it very thoroughly to make sure that everything is evenly distributed. I'm going to set a timer using the game, and I'm just going to stand here for 10 minutes, stirring frequently. Now, I don't know how many of you recognize the format of this part of the video, but this is a very blatant parody of a YouTuber called Babish Culinary Universe. Could you hear the air quotes there? I hope this part of the video is at least somewhat interesting because I made tomato soup that I don't even enjoy. If you can't tell, I'm very bored. I was using my phone to record, so obviously I couldn't play on it. So I just kind of had to walk around and do whatever. So, you know, there's that. Time is up, so I guess we're just gonna go to the next step.
Now it's time to strain the soup. The fine sieve and the saucepan.
That was hard to hear, but we're straining the soup with a fine sieve in a saucepan. Now, I didn't have a fine sieve when I made this, and so all I have is a colander. So I guess it'll have to do.
Transfer the tomato soup through the fine sieve into a separate saucepan using a ladle.
Yeah, at this point I'm starting to get kind of bummed. You know, I don't have a fine sieve, I don't have a ladle, I'm just kind of
stuck using the resources that I have, I guess. Putting a colander on top of a small saucepan, dumping what's basically marinara sauce into it. Anyway, straining the liquid out doesn't really work. I get barely anything and it's going everywhere. So I just make the decision to just scrape it back in. And I even decide to instinctively add some extra chicken stock because it was just not liquidy enough.
Place the pan over moderate heat. When the soup comes to a boil, season it with salt and pepper to taste.
Alright, we're just gonna move this tiny saucepan over, stir it up a bit, do all we can do at this point, pace around contemplating our life decisions, and then add just an ungodly amount of salt to this thing. Yep, this is definitely what soup should look like. Anyways, it's time to serve, so I'm gonna get out a bowl, pour it in, garnish it with parsley for some reason, and there you have a very sad amount of tomato soup. Well, that's all well and good, but I guess the real question is, how does it taste? And I gotta say, it doesn't look like I think it's supposed to. It looks kind of just like tomato sauce. It's okay. I don't like tomato soup. But I'm sure that if I made a recipe for food that I do like, then it'd be delicious. Even if I don't like tomato soup, this is the best tomato soup that I've had. In fact, I used personal trainer cooking to cook up some beef bourguignon for the family this week leading up to this video. I am recording this beforehand, but let's ask Carlo from the future how it was. It was delicious. It had red wines, vegetables, beef taste. Yeah, it's fascinating. I thought this thing was useless, but no, it's just boring. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, of course there are ingredient lists, and you can even choose to exclude recipes with ingredients that you or whoever you're cooking for can't eat. Good thing to know, because for future reference, I can't eat tomato soup. There are useful tools like a calculator, helpful pictures and videos, and a kitchen timer. Actually, if you cook a recipe using the kitchen timer, you unlock the Game & Watch game Chef. That's a really weird reference, but it's really cool, honestly. I am surprised at how much charm this software has. The DS Chef, the music that plays while you cook, it's all very nice. Now that I finished my meal and this video, I want to thank you all for watching. I really hope I got this video out on time. I'm recording this like a week before the video is supposed to come out. Anyways, cool stuff is in the description below, like Discord. Like and subscribe, whatever. I don't really care. Do what you want. See ya. Hey there, fellas and fellettes. It's time again to talk about Super Mario 64. We did it once back in January, and I'm really crunching to get this video out on time. This time we're going to talk about all the special stages in Super Mario 64 and DS. It's going to be structured more like a traditional ranking type video since there are quite a few. The footage I will be using will be exclusively from DS because that is easier on me. Without further ado, here is my ranking. Number 14, The Secret Aquarium. There's not too much to say. It looks pretty cool, like the windows are different colors, but it's just a red coin star and a very simple one at that. There's not too much to it, and it's kinda just a box, which is why it's the worst on my list. Number 13, The Question Mark Switch of Rainbow Tower. I like the aesthetic of the stage. It's big and cloudy and castle-y and rainbowy, and I think that's really neat. But my issue is that you start off flying with the wing cap, and if you land on the tower in the middle, it is very difficult, if not impossible, to reach the red coins. Again, it's nothing special. There isn't anything to do other than complete the red coin star and pass the switch. Number 12, Behind the Waterfall. This one is weird but neat. You get here through Hazy Maze Cave, but it's not part of that stage technically, and you use Metal Wario to collect red coins. Plus, there's an objective where you use Balloon Mario to reach a star that's high up. Unfortunately, the flow in water here can be really annoying, and this place is a little too hard to maneuver around for my liking, so I often end up accidentally falling into the waterfall and giving up thereafter. Number 11, Bowser in the Fire Sea. Okay, so I don't really like this one that much at all, but it's higher than the... lower? I don't know how this works. Than the past few, because it's like an actual stage. Other than that, it's just a bunch of platforms either moving or still floating in a bunch of lava. There's your Fire Sea. I don't really ever play this stage for fun. I play it to get to the red coin star and to beat the boss of the level. There's your Bowser. But it's a full stage and it's important for progression. It's at least decently designed. Number 10, Luigi Stage, Big Boo Battle. Just as the last one was my least favorite of the Bowser stages, this is my least favorite of the character stages. It's not by any regards bad, just the least interesting of them all in my opinion. But it is sort of a fun challenge, having to follow Big Boo's voice through the correct doors. I fall off the stage a lot, and it's really annoying to be sent back to the beginning if you go through a wrong door, but other than that, it's alright. Number 9, Bowser in the Sky. This one's okay. It's the last stage in the game, and so it's definitely supposed to be a test of your abilities, and at that it succeeds. My worst issue is that there are some parts where you can easily fall, and when you die, you have to start all the way at the beginning. The beginning! Heaven knows it's a good, really fun and well-designed stage, but dying or falling off that stage is just so frustrating at times. This is truly the Rainbow Road of Super Mario 64. Speaking of rainbows, number 8, Over the Rainbows. Seamless segue, huh? I do quite like this one a lot. It has the aesthetic of the Rainbow Tower I like, but fixes every issue I have. There are cannons in the stage to help you get around, along with question mark blocks containing a wing cap. I enjoy this stage just to jump around in and have fun. The only problem is, if you fall off the stage, you're dropped into the pond outside of the castle, which means that it is a long, tedious trek back to that stage, and I often just get discouraged. Number 7, Mario Stage, Goomba's Battle. Mario Stage is the first character stage, and it's where you unlock Mario, and it's fun. The Goomba's Battle is fun, and there's a decent amount of space in this stage just to run around and enjoy. I just don't like how there's a thick layer of poison gas across all the ground that you have to use platforms to hop around. I don't really get the connection to Mario. Other than that, though, it's good. Number 6, Princess's Secret Slide. Oh, this one is a classic. I know I've been dragging some of the past ones because they're not fully fleshed out spaces or whatever, but gosh dang, I love this stage so much for these reasons, albeit they're largely from nostalgia. But falling into the stage and hearing that classic nostalgic music gives me a smile every time. The only issue is that it's really, really short, honestly. Number 6, The Secret Under the Moat. So this is a neat stage. This is where you would press the blue exclamation mark switch in the N64 version of the game. This slide part at the start is really fun to me, and this platforming challenge, although I've gotten frustrated at it before, is pretty fun. I always feel so special falling into the level for some reason, like I found some big secret. Number 4, Wario Stage, Chief Chili's Challenge. This one is really, really cool. It's been a long time since I've appreciated it, but it is really cool. If I had to compare it to something, I'd probably compare it to levels in, say, Super Mario 3D Land. This feels like a relatively fleshed out level in a 3D Mario game, and it's definitely the best of the character stages. Also, Chief Chili. Number 3, Bowser in the Dark World. This is my favorite Bowser level. I don't know what it is, but it's just the perfect Bowser stage for me. All of the obstacles have their place here, but are perfectly fair. It's the perfect length to where I feel accomplished getting to the top, but I don't feel frustrated if I fall down. Nothing in the stage feels cheap or unfair to me. Also, nostalgia. Number 2, Sunshine Isles. This one is adorable to me. It's a collection of teeny islands with silver stars, and it's based off of Super Mario Sunshine. The music is relaxing, and it's so enjoyable even to just enter the stage and run around and really just relax. I don't really have anything else to say. It's just really nice, and it's my second favorite special stage. Number 1, The Secret of Battle Fort. This one is just perfect for me, and I don't know what it is. This is Battle Fort, and it's a small stage meant for playing against friends, but it also appears as a secret stage in Super Mario 64 DS. Running around the stage is just so incredibly fun. It's a small stage, but there's a lot going on, and this is what I always think of first when talking about special stages in Mario 64. Nostalgia does slightly apply here, but even disregarding that, this is my favorite. So, there we go. What do you think? I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions about my thoughts and opinions. I've learned to appreciate all of these stages for what they are, but I think there's something else we've all learned today. My opinions are all entirely invalid.
Reading. Not a favorite pastime of mine, being a gamer and all. In fact, I only have a 70 in my world literature class. True story. But it's nice. Books are lovely experiences which have been proven to be just as addictive as Netflix. I just wish that I could read it in a car on a DS poorly. Hey there, I'm in a new space, got my tree. Not everything is set up yet, but I'm cleaning up my room as we speak. So, pretty nice, right? And I bet you weren't expecting another video so soon, huh? Yeah, that's right, I'm full of surprises. See, I own 100 classic books on the DS, and also, I can do this. Oh, that water tastes like medicine.
Look, Mom, I'm reading! 100 classic books released on the DS in December 2008 in Europe and June 2010 in North America, and was developed by Genius Sonority. I didn't even know that company existed. It was also published under the Touch Generation's namesake here in North America. Oh god, they're back! Yeah, so it's an ebook collection of 100 public domain stories. It's completely unrated by the ESRB or PEGI. That's right, that means that this game is supposedly less racy than Word Up. Tell that to Macbeth and see what kind of response you get.
I used to be a big reader back in my golden days of 3rd grade. That has changed since then, and I've noticed a correlation. In case you cannot read, have dyslexia, are farsighted, are genuinely blind, or just prefer for people to read things for you, this chart here, which I've made courtesy of an app on my phone, shows that my English grades back then were good, and my current ones, well, this video is just an excuse to give myself ideas on how to improve that, and I hope to God that this works, because if a video game can't get me to read for pleasure, I don't know what can.
Alright, so you open the game and you're greeted by Poultry. I don't know his purpose, but he's a bird. This led to deception when I tried to read in real life.
Okay, where's the bird?
So, from the title menu, you can pick any of 4 options. You can either start reading, book guide, DS wireless, or settings. Each of these options are exactly what they sound like. And start reading, you can do just that. You can also read about the book and about the authors, but I don't really care that much, so let's move on. In Book Guide, you can take a quiz to see what kind of book you want. Let's see, looks like we're reading Othello tonight. You can also check the ranking, never mind. In DS Wireless, you can connect with a friend to share a demo of the game, heavy air quotes there. Now, I don't have a friend, but I have multiple DS's, so
Oh, this is just so fun. Yeah, so I connected and got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Name a better book to get as a demo. I'm waiting. And in settings, there's an oddly large amount of customization. You can set your background music from a bunch of options. There's classical music, forest noises, again, confusion.
Where am I?
It's really quite nice. I could fall asleep to some of these, quite frankly. Font settings and menu design are pretty straightforward, as are button settings and DS orientation. Yeah, that's right, books. Try changing your orientation. Huh.
I've been staring at the first page of Little Fauntleroy for like 3 hours now. This is getting ridiculous. If a DS game about reading can't get me to read, and making a video about talking about playing a DS game about reading can't get me to read, then there's only one thing I can do. I have to read a real book. It's disgusting, I know. I haven't intentionally touched a book for like a year now. This is really gonna be a challenge. I gotta do what I gotta do. This 70% isn't gonna go anywhere without some effort. So here's my book, here's my emergency button in case I die, and here we go.